Welcome back to Lore of Neverwinter. Today we are going to go into Neverdeath Graveyard and look specifically at the Waterclock Guild quests. We're also going to take a look at the Shadowfell, which is a big part of the both feature, but especially the Shadowfell portion, are a big part of the Vecna Eve of Ruin adventure. We're going to have lots of spoilers in this. That's nothing compared to what we'll talk about later. So if you are going to play that campaign, then this is not the video for you. But if you're going to run it, then this is the video for you, because it's going to give you cool visuals on how to make the most out of what Neverwinter has had for quite a long time in the game, and how that tells you actually more of the lore behind what's happening in Chapter 1 of Vecna Eve of Ruin, how to run it, ideas for it. And if you play the MMO, then maybe this will provide you with some neat lore behind the scenes that you never knew in playing these old quests that actually are entirely relevant in a brand new tabletop RPG adventure for the D&D game called Vecna Eve of Ruin. All right, so we are going to start by first taking a quick look at what's in the adventure, just talking about what's in the adventure, because it's kind of scattered around, so it's not super easy to show. But the highlight of it is there is a room where there is a workshop. And in that workshop, we see this Marid who has been bound to do work. Not clear kind of what tasks, but just kind of keeps things going, I guess, keeps the water pipes running and works on clock mechanisms, because that was the original task given to it by the Waterclock Guild. And last time we shared that the Waterclock Guild actually has a kind of neat history that goes back to Luskan with a specific individual who was able to learn really deep secrets of the lore of the tower, the arcane tower that's located in the city of Luskan to the north of Neverwinter. And what this meant, if I take this off so you can see the map here, that city to north of Luskan, that meant that just going down a short ways could help this person do some additional studies in the city of Neverwinter. And they formed, as part of their research into the elemental energies, which came out of the tower located in Luskan and went to the south, and also went off to the west into the ocean. It was sort of converting elemental energies and almost functioned like the root of a tree, but arcane-wise, which is very kind of fascinating. It's hard to know exactly what that really meant, but what this individual did with it is that they started this Waterclock Guild, and secretly, the reason they were able to make these amazing clocks that nobody could figure out was because it was harnessing this sort of special source of arcane energy. In the Vecna Eve of Ruin adventure, we don't kind of get that deep part, but it can be some neat things to drop in. And there's a whole series of quests that we're going to look at that have this really neat component to it. So it's really quite fun how this Marid who's bound here, kind of what it's involved in, the secrets of the clock tower. If you wanted to expand the experience, because there's sort of this whole year that will take place at the end of this chapter before you go on to the next part, optional. You can choose how long to make it, but it's sort of the idea that time passes. One of the neat things could be is to explore additional Waterclock Guild locations, which the MMO can give you inspiration for. The other thing that happens is that this experience is not a super long experience. If you wanted to expand it, you could require some of the kind of approach to quests that are in the Neverwinter MMO could be used as a model for how you could make a much longer, more interesting experience, where the party has to not just go to the exact tomb where the guild is located, but actually figure out how to get into that tomb by doing some of the things that you'll see in this kind of experience. So let's go to the game itself. And last time we had done a large region here called Pauper's Rest. This is actually the location where we are told to go in the adventure. I don't know that super makes sense, but it's fine. It can work. Pauper's Rest, there could be Waterclock Guild tombs there, or a family that has some association to them. That's fine. But it makes more sense for them to be up in this sort of Craftsman's Rest area, which is an area for artisans and tool users, things like that. Artisans and craftspeople and guild people, so it makes more sense for them to be up here. And the idea is there is no easy way to get in. In this MMO, in the game, what is happening is that the Thayans are trying to get access to where a dragon was apparently sealed in. Alive, dead? It's not entirely clear from the way the quest was phrased. And they're going to do so by brute force, which is going to be time-consuming and difficult. But we, the heroes, we know another way, thanks to this Chatterbell and his family, the family he works for in their history. They are letting us know that there are actually ways to sort of access the tomb. And this involves opening various seals that are located around the graveyard. And it involves lighting a flame in Evernight, the Shadowfell kind of echo shadowy version of Neverwinter. So we're going to start with this quest to open the seals, and there are some lower seals. And as you'll see, this is not particularly difficult. Like, look, hey, there's a seal, and we can interact with it, and we can activate this clockwork mechanism. You can see we're turning this wheel. Hey, everything looks great except for the undead that are behind us. Oop, I forgot what character I'm playing. But that's okay, my companion will just beat them smithereens. And so that was it. We opened it, and we activated the mechanism that's hidden behind it. So quest-wise, that could still be kind of fun. You know, maybe there's some checks to be made, and of course that there are threats at each location makes it a little more interesting, as we have to go around and find these seals and activate them. There are cultists and other folks around, so not only do you have to, like, you know, solve the puzzles, but you have the dangers of just Evernight itself that you have to take on with kobolds and servants of the Dragon Queen, the Cult of the Dragon. The Cult of the Dragon is involved in this, as well as the Thayans. Let's see, where is the clock, the little piece that I'm looking for? This will be the place where we'll turn the flame, but there we go, mechanism right there. I'm not going to do the Evernight part yet, so I'll leave there's a quest interaction there, but we'll do it later. No undead came to haunt us when we did that part. There's one I'm missing somewhere here. Where am I exactly there? Ah, there we are. All right. Yeah, and the Cult of the Dragon was tied to the past of this family that Chatterbell is associated with. See, oh no, that's a different quest. Okay. So I guess that is it. I thought there were more things to be done, but apparently not. So we must do the quest to go to Evernight now. So we'll light this brazier. And look at that. It just opens up a portal to the Shadowfell. In the book, this portal is something that Valindra Shadowmantle is using, the Lich, to go back and forth between the Evernight and the and Neverwinter, so that she can raise undead troops, basically, because there are lots of undead in Evernight. So in the adventure itself, we can see that there is a whole section here where we explore all of this this tomb where prisoners have been taken. And in the Vecna Eve of Ruin adventure, we disrupt a ritual. The heroes disrupt a ritual, and this means that they are kind of bound with a link to Vecna, really kind of cool concept. But as part of that disruption, they are shunted into the Shadowfell plane and end up in the city of Evernight. We get this kind of cool visual here. Evernight is in the Shadowfell, which is a plane of existence. And unlike our normal plane where we live, it's a kind of dark, shadowy version of our world, but it is a lot like it. So a building in one place probably exists in the other, though it may be in ruin in Evernight. The river, for example, is made of lava in Neverwinter rather than being the river being with water, as if Mount Hotna sort of erupted and all of that. There is all kinds of, as it says here, the sun never shines. There's ash-laden fog rising from lava flowing the river. And it's filled with all kinds of terrible creatures that are trying to kind of consume you. That's not good. And when you interrupt that ritual, you wake up underneath, inside this tomb, and you are actually, I think you wake up in a graveyard, in part of Neverwinter's graveyard, and there are ghouls around this grave pit where you show up. And then you kind of learn through one of the people you've rescued what may have happened, and you have to then figure out how to get out, and you don't actually know how to get out. So you have to go to a corpse market, and there you have to kind of barter for information and you meet someone who can help you, and then you are able to get to a tomb, solve the puzzles and traps along the way, and you are able to get back to your world. So it's overall a fairly short, interesting experience to get back from Neverwinter or from Evernight, depending on how you want to play it. So it can be fun to consider some options, which you may get by watching this part of the video. So we, again, have to activate seals, which is kind of cool. I mean, I actually like that because it mirrors what we did back in the other world. And you can see here we are, we're in like a super gray area. All the life and color has been leached out of the city. And the Shadowfell, which was created by Shar, is going to be, in this case, full of Shadar-kai. Those are common, those creatures who are sort of dismal, tormented, pain-ridden creatures. They are in this area, and you can see it's a fairly small area that we've gotten access to as part of the MMO. And we're going to have to open these different seals, which of course is going to involve fighting these creatures. Not particularly wild, clever, whatever. It's just kind of fine, right? It's fine, but that is the game. But you can do a lot more to describe how this place looks like. And in this location, we're not going to find the market, but there are some markets that take place in another part of the Shadowfell, and I've done a video in the past where I look at that, and I may kind of revisit that because it is a pretty fun adventure, and the parts it shows of the Shadowfell and of Evernight are different, so they're kind of interesting in their own way. So you can see, again, we're going to open a seal that's on the side of the door. We're going to open it, and you can do a lot with this, right? This is just a simple game that's just running around. We're bashing stuff. But we could instead, need to find it in the graveyard and go to the market and trade for lore, right? Maybe we could expand that market scene with, you've got to know the locations of where these sigils for this family are located that they use to guard passage back to the Shadowfell. That's kind of a neat idea. I think that could be a lot of fun, and probably something along those lines is what I might do in a home campaign, running that adventure. So I'm using the Big B's hand mount. You can see the kind of twisted trees, really cool looking. And I'll just follow this marker going down some steps. All the braziers are like this kind of leached color and the light. There's a Shadar-kai dire helm here. Do some neat kind of attacks. Once we take them out, then we can get to this seal, and again, slide it aside and activate it. And I think the idea of what's going on is sort of these chains that are going on here. You can see sort of this part of Evernight sort of seems to have a reflection of the things that are happening in Neverwinter as a result of the event of the rain. What do you call it? I'm blanking right now. The event known as the Spell Plague. The Spell Plague caused things to sort of float in the air and so on. And so I think the Shadowfell itself shouldn't necessarily have floating things like this, but the Spell Plague could have caused that and explain why that exists. So we'll cut through here. We've got another Shadar-kai soldier. Take these on. Continue on our dismal way instead of our merry way. But it's kind of neat. Really neat looking place. The shades of gray visuals here are really quite cool. Looks like I have to go up these steps, but there's some more Shadar-kai. And climb up these steps. I like how, as in other parts of Neverwinter, things are off kilter. That seems particularly fitting in this type of a situation. Right, just looks really, really neat. So we've gotten 3 of the 4 seals. You can kind of see, can we jump around here? Oh, cool. Kind of come along from this way or whatever. Neat. I like that. Ooh, more Shadar-kai. Came out of nowhere. The presence of shadows allows you to do a kind of lot of things that you could do with you know, the darkness hiding foes and you know, maybe illusions where things aren't exactly what they seem to be. There could be interesting NPCs that maybe, you know, want to be rescued from the Shadowfell. The idea that you could, you know, come out and explore different areas other than just the direct path you're doing and have additional quests, that could all be cool. So we open the seal, and now they're all activated. It says activate the shadow lock. So let's see. And I'm going this way and up somewhere. Back the way we came, through these steps. Ooh, that's kind of interesting looking. What is that? So, ooh. And enemies come immediately, and whoa, that was not cool. You're mean. Shatterkai Witch. Ooh. The Shatterkai in this game often have this sort of kind of shadow thing that they throw at you that yeah, does that to you, kind of prevents you from taking the actions you want. So we're here kind of on this roof. We can kind of look around, really cool looking. And I like that, you know, this is very much like an orrery or clock of some kind, so it very much fits the theme. And there's just a giant lever that it calls the shadow lock. We turn it, and we have apparently, I think what the idea is, this is the lock that has opened access to the tomb, right? And that's what could perhaps work as well to get you back to between Evernight and Neverwinter, or maybe if you needed to get to an additional location in Evernight, you could do that first, and then you come back to the real world. So all of a sudden, look, the color returns to the world. We can go check in with Chedarbell again. It's funny because usually the graveyard looks kind of bleak, and it looks so nice after having been in the Shadowfell.
Excellent! Once the physical seals are taken care of, you should be able to enter the Waterclock Guild Tomb. Excellent! You should be able to enter the Clockwork Tomb via the main entrance now. You'd best hurry. Harper Windle's spies report that Valindra's troops are close to breaking through into the tomb. If Valindra gets her hands on the Cult of the Dragon artifacts buried with Romani Manini and frees Azazel, it bodes ill for Neverwinter, and yours truly, of course.
Yeah, so I kind of like that because it gives you the sense that, okay, we're probably going to get ahead of things and just sort of experience the tomb for ourselves, but then maybe the enemies can show up towards the end, and that means that they will also add pressure to the situation. There's a lot that you can do as a dungeon master with that in playing a game. So let's see, we're going to go down to this particular area, and yeah, okay. I think the original version of this had more quests to it, and they've sort of shortened the number of quests here. They often do that when they revise things over time. Because like I feel there were also like upper seals, unless that's a separate quest, but there were additional sort of seals over here where these guys are. So we had to kind of go to two different places to open the way to the tomb, both lower and upper seals. But you can see we've gotten to explore a little more. Last time we went up here to this upper area with different mausoleums and this kind of area. And now we're going to go to this location, to the tomb, which takes us through this very cool looking archway. You can see there's, we can fight these other dragon kobolds and so on, but really neat statues and yeah, there are a few bad guys we got to take on here. Yeah, and I recall like there was, it's just a kit, but oh, maybe we can get a view up here that'll be kind of nice to look. Let's see, how do I jump up there? Aha, I found it. Over to the side, we can come up over here, and this allows us to get up to this location. And here we can interact with this scrying stone and get a view of Craftsman's Rest, which is very cool. So now we can jump down and access the Clockwork Tomb. I really enjoy this tomb. I think the visuals are really cool that we're going to see once we get inside. And I find it just a really neat concept for an adventure. So we still are on the outside. We've made it through the tomb kind of walls, I guess, but it's actually not the building yet. And it says defeat the Thayan wizards. So we still got some work to do. Ooh, they've sent zombies at us. More zombies. Do 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 do. Treasure chest. Half buried. Whoa. Skeletons behind. I like that they kind of had cover behind those barrels. That's kind of cool. And more archers. They're everywhere. Let's see, is there anything else up here to explore? Just look down on where I was before. Kit, that's kind of cool. There's a Thayan wizard. The wizard's casting flame at us and conjuring energy. Going down, wizard. Alright, very good. So we've treasure chest we can get first, and then we apparently go in. So this part I definitely didn't understand. I mean, if we're trying to beat the Thayans to it, and they're just at this door, but I guess the idea is that maybe we can unlock it, and they can't. That was a little weak. But okay, so here we're in the tomb. Kind of cool looking. I like the kind of blue glow. This looks like a place that'd be a trap, right? Like you gotta do something to deactivate, otherwise standing here would be bad, but doesn't look like it. And here, look at this. This is so gorgeous. I just love this. You're standing on a giant clock, and you can see gears below. No immediate danger here. But it's just so cool, right? These rotating gears, right? And I love this because it really makes it wondrous. Like, look at these cool... right? Like cool clocks. We've got levers, but this one you can't activate yet. And there's a plaque to read, and then there's a giant clock over there to connect with. So let's take a read. A handy summary. Who were the clockmakers? Clockmakers were masters of metallurgy and mechanical engineering. They harnessed the power of flowing water to turn the weighty gears of their immense timepieces. Living by the moving hands of time, they only thought it fitting to rest eternally in clockwork catacombs. That's pretty cool. So yeah, just really, really neat looking. If I kind of go here into inspect mode. And I just think that's so neat looking. All right, so now we've got this huge clock that we can interact with. Now, game-wise, it's a little disappointing that in this game, all you do is kind of just click, like you don't have to think or do anything. But in an actual adventure, you could have neat like skill checks to make, right? Like what time do you set it to, and why, and what's going on. I love details like this sort of spinning gear behind it and stuff like that. Like some really neat visuals here, right? So we start the first clock, and it kind of all seems to shake. Not clear what happened, but now we have a second handle here that we can pull. So we're setting the time, right? So really cool would be like if you had to think through like, okay, what hour was it when this particular thing happened? There could be a nice puzzle. So you set the hour, and we've got an opening in a passage. And again, like lots of things here that could be trapped, right? You could take this exact layout, which you can see kind of where we've been through so far. You could take this exact layout and add to it. So we've got Thayans here. I don't know. We did all that work and somehow all we did was beat them by one room. Okay. But, you know, so it goes. All right, so we're in a room again with some, like, bodies and things like that, because I guess it is still a tomb. Some seal in the center. We're going to now pull this to move the clock lever. This kind of also shakes. We don't know exactly what it did. I kind of like that part of it where you're not entirely sure what you did. You know, maybe you could roll some checks to know that, well, elsewhere it may have opened a doorway. So you go back to your central chamber with the clock. And we can see that the other lever has been activated. So this could be kind of cool, right? Like in the actual adventure, when we go to look at this, back here in the, in the first tomb that you go to, you end up finding that there are water fountains with some monsters in them, and you can do things like stopper up the pressure valve, and if you do that, then it floods areas, right? And along those lines, we have what we have in this game where it's neat to add a little more lore of like, hey, there's all this running water going on, right? And all these pipes that are probably connecting things. And so when you are in all these gears, and those gears are all being moved by water, maybe magic as well. And not just water, but water with elementals bound inside to regulate it, right? That's why in the Vecna Eve of Ruin adventure, there are these elementals who are doing things. Well, that's what they're doing, right? And this can be a really fun idea. Maybe you have to talk to some of the elementals, right? The machine's stuck and doesn't work, so you've got to work it out with the elementals or defeat them, and then do it yourself. So we can see we're in a new area here. There's some skeletons back there. I'm going to attack from far because I see some traps. And ossuaries to the side. There's somebody still here. And more skeletons coming back there. I'll attack them from afar rather than risk those traps. Wow, a couple more here. Alright, looks like they've stopped. I saw something, I thought I saw something that I could interact with, but no. But there are traps. I might be going back through here, so I will disarm these traps. Ooh, I somehow stepped on it anyway. When you step on a trap, it kind of lowers your speed and stuff like that, but I guess it passed pretty quickly. Here's some information. Read the book. Where is it? A tome found within the Clockmaker's catacombs describes the trials of the Clockmaker. Most of what's written inside is useless jargon. A few fragments are intelligible. It seems the Clockmakers placed great value on the act of accurately setting their clocks. Particularly important is the ability to set one clock based on the time displayed on another. Vague references are made to the catacombs and the various mechanisms within. So, you know, again, kind of cool. That can be a nice basis for having a puzzle of some sort, right? Got another book here, The Binding of Megira. So as we said last video, Megira, the elemental that drives Gauntlgrim and all of the creations that the dwarves could make there, that is a primordial, almost godlike elemental being that was bound into Gauntlgrim and apparently, perhaps, by the same person that started the Clock Tower Guild, which is kind of cool. Yeah, Luke and Green Harrow met a human clockmaker by the name of Saborn Rendell. Together they founded what would become the powerful Waterclock Guild. In time, making Neverwinter's waterclocks and the city's most famous artisan creations. In truth, artisanship was only part of the reason. The most prized guild secret was that of a similar conjuration magic to which they bound Megara the Inferno with water elementals, also was the basis for the waterclocks, which none outside Neverwinter's Waterclock Guild could ever seem to reproduce. Very cool. And again, this room is pretty dark, but we can see all kinds of like gears, and there's stuff down below. I even think I see the glow of a red wizard and some monsters, so we'll certainly end up down there. As I've said in the previous video, I always think it's cool when there is knowledge to be uncovered. Just seeing if there's anything else about something you're going to do before, right? You see the bad guys down below, and you can sneak. Take you out first. Oh, take you both out. Alright, so Thayan Wizard and Undead that they'd animated. I think this is just going to tell us that a lot of bodies have clearly been removed, and it shows columns and columns of bodies where they came from. So somehow it's the Thayans that have been, I guess, causing a lot of trouble with all those bodies. We have a treasure chest, hopefully not a mimic. It's a mimic. But we get some nice loot from it, so never that bad when you find a mimic in this game. And we're going to go down, probably near that area we saw before that looked quite dangerous. So a very cool stairway that we come down. See if there's a trap at the bottom of this one. Don't see one. There's a red wizard there. Cool, this does the kind of clock motif, very, very neat. There's a little satchel I can use my thievery skills. I like how the statues have these kind of glowing lights. That's neat. Love the visuals, right? I mean, you could do so much, and apparently a door that could lead somewhere else. Super, super cool. Boom! How'd you like that, Thayan Wizard? Thanks, Regis. You took him out. So we've got another kind of interesting column here. Ooh, more undead. Deathlock White. I don't like you. And a Hulk. Why am I not rolling? Okay. Good times, good times. So we've got another treasure chest. Pretty sure that's not a mimic. I feel good. Hey, it's a real treasure chest with more stuff that somehow jumps out of it. And another lever to move. Again, it would be cool if this was a puzzle and it was like telling us what to do, but we've now changed the third clock, which probably opened something else up somewhere. We don't know where. I like that, you know, the symbols we were using, right, to open up those seals to get into this place. Those are reflected here in the art. Those kinds of tie-ins are really cool. It must be the seal of the Clockmakers Guild, I would guess, hope. Let's see, we're not going up, we're going around. Ah, that's that door we saw before. Now it's open. Cool, cool. That was all very empty. But we've got some big doors to open. Is this the kind where like bad things are gonna spring out of it? No. Hey, kobolds. Yeah, Regis is very good at that. All right, so there's a bunch of kind of caskets. Whoa, that scared me. I wasn't expecting that. Ah! 2 soldiers in a tomb. I like that. I got jump scared. All right, that was great. I saw this green glow thing. I thought that was something, and it was just a little skill thing, but all right. Okay, so that's interesting. I don't know if you saw the text there above that one kobold, but it said protect the great dragon or something like that. So it looks like they have a draconic, they serve this dragon that we're trying to find, which is locked in here. So that's interesting. That's why there are kobolds here, which I like it. So one of the questions is always sort of like, oh, how does this stuff work? And a good excuse is, well, there's somebody maintaining it. So if there's a little tribe of kobolds that are all here making things work, that gets to explain it. All right, now we get some nice lore. The Clockmaker's Lament Part 1, and this is kind of fun. Where is it? Here we go. So it describes the trials of the Clockmaker. No, that's the wrong one. Lament right here. So this is Enki the Carver writing this sort of poem. My youth did tick away in vain as I toiled at my trade. Had I the hours back again, such mischief I'd have made. It's just sort of funny. This person who passed away left these kinds of kind of sad thinking about what all took place and how they regret the choices they made in life. That itself could be the basis of clues for these clocks, and that would be really cool, right? All right, a fourth clock. We've somehow set it, returned it, enabled it, whatever. I thought something was going to happen there, but no. Instead, it is opening these doors. This hallway is also quiet. Too quiet. Oh, there's a huge gear. That's really cool. See that? That looks really neat. That would be perfect, like, for some sort of trap. Hey, look at that gelatinous cube. Yeah, I defeated the gelatinous cube. That was cool. They are transparent until they attack you, and so I guess I got lucky and got to see it. No other stuff to interact with, but that's neat. I love the gelatinous cube being sort of locked into a place like this. Could also, if you want to be a really mean DM, you can have them drop onto your characters or have a pit that looks like it's empty and you can just climb down and cross, but when you drop down into it, it's a gelatinous cube. Oh, we saw this from up there, right? So we were once way up there, and now we're down here, and in fact, we can even see stuff below. That is really neat. I'm gonna pause and take some pictures. All right, so we're in this cool room. We see another lever there that we can't enable yet. Looks like a door that we can't go through yet, but we have this to set the hour. Okay, so we're again setting a clock. Ooh, there's some lore here. The Clockmaker's Lament Part 3. Did I miss Part 2? So Part 3 says, no second chance will I have now. My winding spring has sprung. That tolling is no call to prayer. Too soon my death knell's rung. So clearly a poem about dying and passing away. Let's see where we have to go. That door that we saw has opened. Like more dragon cultists. These are humans though, so I don't know exactly how these folks have been living down in these sealed tombs. What were you eating? I like the dripping water from and there's like nests and then the gear's working. It's really cool. The Lich. Oh. So I guess that's weird. It looks like okay, the Cult of the Dragon. So the kobolds and the Cult of the Dragon are the same. So maybe the Cult of the Dragon is actually supposed to be like active in there. That's interesting. That is possible. So there is a treasure chest here. I'm sure it's not a mimic. There is a book. Yeah, there's Clockmaker's Lament Part 2. Out of order. Imagine that. For minutes pass in triple time, hunched o'er a carver's bench. Far better had I stopped my hands to drink and fight and wench. Wow. I'm not so sure. But, yeah, maybe you should have had a little bit of fun. Let's see, this is just a religion thing. I'm okay there. And I will pull the lever. The 5th clock. Now, you see the water kind of now is coming down there, which operates the gears. And I think opens another location, maybe the way up? Not sure. We can now pull the lever is the idea. That is so neat looking. I love that. So now we can pull this lever, see what happens. Oh, we can go down now. That's cool. Look at that. So this little grate just opened. Very cool. We do get to go downstairs. And I think if we go up, it might be closed off for now. Oh, look at that. We found scrolls. Information on necromancy. So it just tells you about several necromantic spells. The bodies being gathered here being taken off to Helm's Hold to serve the will of the Thayans there. Very interesting. And here, oh yeah, we can go up. So we can go back up to where we were, and that confirms that that is indeed the place. I'm going to save time by jumping off the edge. And we'll go down here to the next level down where we have not been. Oh, cool lighting. I like the change in color, the red to the, from the blue. There's another clock here. Ooh, and a sort of arcane sigil. That's neat. That's where you know, like, that's serious. Like, somebody's protecting this for some reason. We'll read this plaque. Oh, here we go. Now we've got an actual puzzle. Hundreds of letters are arranged randomly along the surface of the clockwork box. At the bottom of the gibberish, the word ready is clearly spelled out. I am the most ominous and portentous hour. Portentous hour. Portents, telling the future. Both the darkest and the lightest and the greatest of them all. So if it is both lightest and darkest, then it just has to be 12, not midnight or noon. And that's it. Well, that was, to quote Monty Python, that was easy. Nothing else behind me. Work, carving a stone. And I just want to make sure, I wonder if this is the end. I forget whether I walked entirely around the perimeter of this. I think I did, yeah. Okay. So I don't see another way, so this may be the end. Ooh, spiders. Got some weird looking stuff. Skeletons, spiders. What do giant spiders eat? I mean, you don't have giant moths flying around, so I don't know how it works. Get ready for me to be jump scared again. Oh. Just kind of a neat side area. No other lore or interesting tidbits. Okay. Neat little egg sac. It's one thing when you find like a small egg sac, but finding an egg sac that's bigger than you, that's kind of a thing. Mimic? Oh. Phase Spiderling. It's kind of a neat idea, right? Take a monster like a phase spider and just make a little baby one that jumps around. And that's kind of cool. Oh, there's a bunch of bad guys there. Kill you with my mount. Alright, another little religion thing. It's all cool looking, very cool mood. But no additional lore. Alright, on we go with our quest. More skeletons. Ooh, more dripping water. Yep. So that's cool. You just kind of go under the water, splashy, splashy. There's a little drain. So I guess the idea is, you know, some of the mechanisms we turned on, that's causing this water to come down from above, and filtering out below. Very cool. I dig it. And now we go into this neat looking room. Ooh, and now our quest is updated to say find Valindra. So I think we're getting close to the end. What do I think so far? I love the elements of this, right? Like, I think there could be a lot of puzzles and stuff. There's very little social interaction, so that's where I might put in a spirit, or even the kobolds, that they would talk to you and maybe even say like, hey, we're being pressed into doing things, but we're actually worried that maybe the dragon's not being served well or something like that. That could be really interesting. So Valindra is disposing of the Cult of the Dragon people who are here taking care of this dragon. Or retreating with it. So talking about the beginning with our friend at the bridge. Shoth the Tomb Queen. Okay. I love that. I love it, especially at lower levels. I think a big giant spider is a fantastic foe. Sorry for anybody who really doesn't like spiders. We also have the spiderlings. I'm going to try to take those off from afar before I aggro the main boss. There's a lot of y'all here. Fortunately, I'm fairly well geared as a starting character. I remember this being a lot harder when I was first playing. Okay, so cool. We still got the red motif. Very cool. Neat. Look at all the gear work up top. And there's all these webs. And there is Shoth the Tomb Queen. So let's try to debuff her. She looks like she's going to jump over here, so I'll get out of the way. What does she do? I'm just going to let her attack me. Ooh, yeah, a whole bunch of little cuts and attacks. And then a big webbing where I'm stuck and move slowly. A big leap. It's pretty cool. Alright, time for me to unleash my full badness. Yeah, like, oop, she's going to jump. Oh, I did not run away in time. Daily power. All right, so that completes the Clockwork Tomb. Very cool. Make sure I didn't miss out on any kind of lore or anything else. Valindra has apparently skedaddled. That's kind of cool. Little moon signal. Not entirely clear why. Nothing else? No treasure chest, no lore. Okay. Maybe there's more. No, not yet. Okay. So Valindra was here disposing of the Cult of the Dragon initiates.
Have I told you I'm a gene? Valindra escaped with Azazel. Perhaps it's time to visit my academic colleagues in Waterdeep. I suppose you could consider the bright side. Now that Valindra controls an army of gnolls and undead and a blue dragon, it's highly unlikely she will simply go away and leave Neverwinter in peace. I'm sure you'll get another chance to set things right. In the meantime,
that's the bright side.
I must make travel arrangements.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Okay, so I guess the idea is that the dragon just kind of bailed with Valindra at that point. And then I believe what then happens is we will... so I think there was a second tomb and maybe they removed it. So that was all the clock tower, I think, content we're going to get. In the final scene, I guess the idea is that Valindra had convinced the dragon to flee with her, and then they left, leaving us to deal with this tomb spider that either was there or we were summoned to deal with. Now we can talk to Harper Windle.
When walking about the graveyard adventure, Valindra's undead in the Court of the Dragon.
So this is kind of a nice closure quest. Go to your main city area of Protector's Enclave, report what happened to Sergeant Knox, who is kind of your main quest giver, both especially in the early days, but also later on. Valindra is no longer a problem. That's the work we did in the Paupers area. And then in Krasten's Rest, the Cult of the Dragon that we dealt with just now. She escaped with the right of the Dracolich, however, is certainly a setback. So that was kind of a book that telling her kind of how to make a Dracolich. But it may take her some time to gather the necessary components. There is a dungeon where we go and fight this blue dragon and and then deal with it as a Dracolich. So that part gets wrapped up later in sort of the dungeons that we do. But for now, the idea is that Neverdeath is basically a piece. So I hope that this has been useful, right? This idea of looking at the Craftsman's Rest area. And I guess there is a tiny little piece. Let's go see that last piece as I kind of wrap this up. We'll take a look at the end of the last little bit of the visuals that we have here. But I hope these visuals have been inspiring. I find it really cool, kind of all these little zones that there are, the crooked towers, the different uneven ground, right? Especially in this area here. If you remember in all of the Rift and in Pauper's Field, there were all these like areas that were at odds, right? Like uneven ground with giant disruptions to the earth from the spell plague. This area that we explored before with the mausoleums, really kind of neat looking too. We went into that building there, which is super cool looking. But we didn't kind of explore this area. And you can see this area has lots of knolls, which we will try to kind of dodge as we just walk around or run around. But lots of kind of just different graveyards. You can see how there could be important things here to find people's tombs, where they rest. In the previous times, there were a number of quests that would have you kind of run around here as well. But I think they just took that out to make a shorter experience. And then this area over here, which is kind of pretty, this is a little bit different the way they've set it up now. There used to be some quests here, and then later they added content where with both Tyranny Dragons, you would come here, and later with a dragon-themed encounter, you would come here, and you can see that's still standing here. You can interact with these bones, and I think it maybe... Yeah, you can learn about Charthraxis, a green dragon. So you used to be able to fight Charthraxis as part of the Tyranny Dragons. And now the idea is that you find the skeleton of Charthraxis here because we killed it, right? The adventurers killed it, which is kind of fun. But there's this tent here, and when you are doing the dragon storyline, you come here and find that there are Cult of the Dragon people who are interacting with the dragon bones and up to no good, and you figure out what they're up to. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, so this gives you a feel for this area of the a lot more kind of beautiful area, but plenty of opportunities for other buildings. So it's a neat layout that you could use in various ways to show different tombs, headstones. They seem to have not put any creatures in this area anymore. They've removed the ones that used to be here. But you have all those nodes down there with no longer any quests. But it's a really, really neat area, right? And so this, you could use this map in various ways if you wanted to expand on that idea. What would I do? If I was running this campaign, the Vecna Eve of Ruin campaign, Chapter 1, what I would probably do is add a piece to where you don't just go straight to this tomb, right? Your 10th level heroes, I would want something a little more grand. And I think that Shadowfell thing could be fun. It runs the chance that maybe you go to the Shadowfell twice, but if you had the sense of it being quite dangerous and you had to visit it, that's one option. Go to it, as we saw here, where you open a gate to it. But I might not do that. I think what I'd probably do is stay in the mundane world at first. Visit some ancient graves to find the location that would open the seal to this tomb. Because we lack the ways to get in, and it's magically warded. We've already heard that. So maybe we know where it is, but we don't know how to get into it. And there's some sort of ward that requires accessing the clock tower, or the Waterclock Guild. And that would then give you this opportunity to use the kind of adventures we saw here, then finally get into the adventure, to the tomb that's actually shown in the adventure itself. Do that tomb, that tomb. You get shunted to the Shadowfell, and there you might not only need to negotiate in the market to find a way forward, but what the person actually is telling you is not just, hey, go into this tomb, but that tomb has a portal if you can find your way in. And that's where you'd have to maybe do these, what we did in Evernight, where we did those different seals and open that up, and then light this torch, and that could all let you then get into the tomb in Evernight. Then that gives you the portal back home, and you could wrap up Chapter 1 quite nicely. You could alternatively put in some aspects about the cult of the dragon, or additionally. So you could have those kinds of angles there. The idea of the background of the family that has this tomb could be interesting. You could push into that the way that Kettlebell did a little bit here. There used to be a lot more to it. One of the things that I recall that I thought was a really neat story angle, but I don't think is there anymore, is that person that was hiring Kettlebell, and Shadowfell has no scruples, that person was wanting to alter their history so that Neverwinter's nobility, rulership, whatever, would not know her dark past, that they had been a cultist. I thought that was kind of fun. Like, I think that's a neat kind of idea, that's sort of like, you know, sordid tales, and you could decide whether you want to share that information with, you know, Lord Neverember, who you work for, or not. That's kind of a cool concept. I like that. I dig that. So yeah, really cool looking place. I hope you enjoyed looking at all these different visuals. Hopefully it inspires you. Even if you don't run Vecna Eve of Ruin, maybe this gives you some ideas for other adventures involving graveyards, right? A graveyard can have a lot of different terrain than just headstones, and this really shows that off. And that if you put certain things in the graveyard, like this Waterclock guild, you can have really interesting lore that could be quite empowering in a campaign, right? Like, if you come away with all these secrets of the Waterclock guild, that might be something that guild artisans are now in your debt for providing that to them, right? And that would be really kind of neat too. So a lot of potential here. The Acolytes of Kelemvor, right? All of the Kelemvor Doom Guide angles, and that their best have been captured by someone who's powering rituals, right? And all of that happens to also lead to where you need to go to open up this tomb. All a lot of fun potential. So I hope that's been useful. If you play through the Vecna Eve of Ruin adventure, hopefully this is helpful to you. And I'll see you next time on the Lore of Neverwinter. If you like the work I do on these efforts, please consider supporting me by becoming a Patreon member. Patreon members gain access to the community we have on Discord, where we discuss upcoming projects and the RPG industry. And you'll gain access to exclusive adventure, encounter, and monster design tools, as well as 2 free supplements: the Game Master's Guide to Evolving Magic Items, and also Rules for Collaborative Campaign Creation. If you can't support me with a membership, you can pick up my products on DriveThruRPG, and you can also join my mailing list at alphastream.org to gain one of them for free. Thanks so much for considering supporting me.